Sup, Wupaks? My name's Eric, and for those who don't know me, I'm a fundraiser supervisor from Ottawa, and I'm making this video to tell you guys kind of my approach for amnesty, my clothes, that type of thing. Forgive me if I'm not making sense. It's kind of been outside for a long day. It was like 40 degrees in Ottawa today, so I'll do my best. But essentially, I struggled for a while on amnesty. Struggled for about a month. I didn't know what I was doing. To me, my rap sounded awesome, and people just weren't doing it on the spot or just backed out, and I didn't know why. And I gave my pitch to a few people, and one of the feedback things that I got was from a fundraiser of ours who does PFU. Her name's Adele, and she told me that I was too intense. She told me that it was a beautiful rap and it was great, but it's a little too intense for people at the door, and it puts a little too much pressure on people to act. And the weird thing about fundraising is that people have to make the decision themselves. They have to decide for themselves that this is something that they want to do. Otherwise, it feels like it's someone else's idea. So that's the kind of psychology behind it. So just to give you the basics of my rap so that my clothes kind of make sense, because your clothes kind of has to go with the rest of your rap. You can't just use someone else's clothes necessarily if it doesn't, doesn't fit with your rap. So my approach I started to use is, like, I introduced myself, did my, my intro, asked them if they knew about Amnesty, talked to them a bit about it, told them the overall, like, mission statement for Amnesty. It's basically to make sure that human rights are enforced and protected, especially in countries, where human rights are huge, huge issues. And I would tell people that basically my favorite part of what Amnesty did, because my background is communications, I'm really into journalistic. I think journalism is really important. I think that protecting freedom of speech and making sure that we have access to real information is crucial. So I'd tell people that, and then tell them that what I really love about Amnesty is that it's basically the organization, or the main organization, that protects journalists from violence and from harm, and gives them the safety and the comfort to actually be able to speak out and do their job and do what they need to do. I think that that's really important, and you can relate that to anything that you want. You can relate it to Canada if you want, through, look at all the scandals that have been happening in Toronto with Mayor Ford, or all the, scandal with Nigel Wright and Duffy and whatever, or you can relate it to other things, whatever story you want to pitch. But I would tell people that, in Canada, if we, our journalists are actually being muzzled to some degree. We have, it's not perfect, but our journalists are not being beheaded. So I would ask people, how would you feel if, Rick Mercer was put in prison or killed for making a joke about the government? How would you feel if Peter Mansbridge was thrown in prison or killed? And then people are like, I'd be pretty scared. I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't, you probably wouldn't feel comfortable living in your country if that was going on. And then I asked people, if this was happening and your journalists were being killed or put in prison, would you be comfortable actually going to the streets and protesting or demanding that human rights be respected? And the answer most of the time is no. Like, of course they wouldn't. Like, you'd be afraid of being killed or beheaded or whatever. If journalists, public figures, are being killed or put in prison, the average Joe, a little guy, obviously stands no chance. So that's what I tell people, is that people that are stuck in those situations actually need people who are safe and who are free in countries around the world to actually speak out for them and help them, because they can't do it themselves because they're in extreme danger. But we can. We are safe and we are free, and we can be a part of Amnesty. We can speak out. We can sign a petition without that happening to us. So that's how I pitched it. And when my close was simple. Basically, so that's why we're out today. We're not out collecting cash donations. What we're talking to people about is being supporters of Amnesty, because there's two things that Amnesty really needs. And I actually use this pitch with every organization I've ever done: Doctors Without Borders, Oxfam, CNIB, and Amnesty. I talk about two aspects of being a supporter. And I've stopped using the word member because people are like, I don't want to be a member. I don't want to, be a part of something. I don't want my name on a list, whatever. So I don't use member. I use, for certain organizations, I use sponsor. Like CNMB, I use sponsor. With Amnesty, I talk about being a supporter, a registered supporter. And so when I get to my close, I tell them, so what we're looking for today is Amnesty needs two things. One side is the financial side, and one side is public support. On the financial side, Amnesty is a fully independent organization, so there's no government or corporate support. There can't be, so it's all the public that supports it. There's no billionaire that's behind this funding us. There's a few millionaires. There's, Bono and other singers and artists and stuff, but essentially it's the public. So they need consistent funding. They need to have funding that they know is going to be there so that they can plan and actually know what the heck they're doing throughout the year. Otherwise, they can't, no one can plan and budget on, just sporadic donations. So it's really the regular support that allows them to actually exist. So that's why we're asking people to donate on a monthly basis so that we have stable financial, income. And the other reason that we're really looking for supporters, or regular supporters, is that basically when we put pressure on the government or people in positions of power, it shows that people actually really care. Because when you're a monthly donor of something, basically it shows that you've made a conscious choice to support an organization. When you make a one-time donation, maybe you're at a friend's wedding, maybe someone you knew told you that you should donate to Amnesty and you made a contribution for whatever occasion. It doesn't mean that you actually know about the organization, know what's going on, or care all that much. Maybe there's a cute kid wearing an Amnesty shirt or something at a fundraising event, and you donated because you wanted to support human rights. But when you become a member of something, or you become a supporter, as I say, when you become a regular supporter of something or a monthly donor, basically you show people that you made a conscious choice to support this organization and support them on a regular basis. And it's not more of a commitment, because you can call anytime, you can cancel it, you can change it, but it shows that you actually know about what's going on and you care enough to support on a regular basis. So those are the two sides that it really helps Amnesty with. The financial is really what allows us to do the work that we do, and for that you can use all types of examples if you want. You can talk about how a phone call, a satellite phone call, when you're in a war zone and you're reporting on human rights violations. One example that I heard that I use a lot is I talk about we had a guy who was working in Egypt during the revolution, not the most recent one, but the one before, and he made two phone calls. One was a satellite phone call to let people know what was happening with human rights violations in the square, and the other call was to say, "Get me the heck out of here! They're trying to kill me." So each phone call was $200, right? So that's what the money goes towards with Amnesty. So that's a way to pitch the financial side, and then for the voice, it's letting them know that it's not the amount of money that we have that gets people out of prison, it's how many people actually care and know about it. So that's how I closed Amnesty. I talked about the two sides of it and really showed them that being a regular supporter, and don't be afraid to use the word monthly donor. I used to use member before saying monthly donor, and I started talking about being a monthly donor instead of being a member, and it resonates better. So when I got to my close, I'd say what we're looking for basically is monthly donors to Amnesty. We're not here collecting cash donations, because there's those two sides that really help Amnesty. The financial side is really crucial because they don't get any support from governments or corporations, and they can't, and that's really a huge side of Amnesty. It's fully independent, and the other side is really letting them know how important monthly support is for their voice, letting them know that it makes governments act more. It gives Amnesty more credibility because it shows that people actually know and actively are following what's going on, and then just letting them know that it is really simple to do. And there's all types of other tactics too for rebuttals and stuff where you can but mostly it's letting them know how easy it is. And with Amnesty, it's really showing people, it's having an attitude where you don't actually care if they sign up. You tell them how important it is, but ultimately you let them make the decision, and you take a really kind of like you're passionate, but you're very chill. You're very, hands off. If they decide to do it, awesome, great. If they don't, you know, suggest or tell them reasons that you do it, or tell them reasons why it's important, but don't tell them they have to do it, basically. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can, I don't know, have Mike text me or call me or whatever, and hope it helps. And good luck on Amnesty. Once you figure them out, they're a pretty awesome client to fundraise for. They're the most fun to fundraise for. So good luck.